The air was dry that morning in Kingsford County, the kind of dry that cracked lips and made asphalt shimmer with a deceptive haze. In the distance, the sun crept above the pine trees, casting gold on the sleepy town's edges. There was nothing special about the diner parking lot off Route 17, just cracked pavement, a few rusted signs, and a no loitering warning that had faded with time. It was the kind of place people passed through, never remembered. But today, something unforgettable was about to happen. He parked his car, an old but spotless Dodge Charger, with no fanfare. To any outsider, he looked unremarkable. Mid-50s, bald at the top with tight curls along the sides, clean-shaven, dark brown skin, and dressed in a simple gray blazer and jeans. He moved like a man with nothing to prove, shoulders relaxed, steps measured. The only thing that seemed out of place was the subtle detail most wouldn't notice, the state seal on the lapel pin, tiny but authoritative. Inside the diner, people greeted him with casual nods. No cameras, no suits, no entourage, just him and a blueberry muffin, black coffee, and the worn copy of The Old Man and the Sea he always carried for morning reads. He was halfway through a paragraph when the front door slammed open. 2 officers walked in, boots stomping, hands on their belts like they owned the town. Officer Dale Wickers was the taller of the 2, thick mustache, aviators indoors, and a smirk permanently glued to his face. Behind him was Officer Blake, younger, still learning to wear arrogance like armor. They scanned the room like hawks. Wickers zeroed in on the Charger outside through the window, then back to the man reading quietly in the booth. Without warning, they approached. "Morning, sir," Wickers said, voice louder than necessary. "That's your black Charger out front?" The man looked up from his book slowly, as if deciding whether to engage. "Yes," he said evenly. Wickers nodded, tongue pressing against his cheek. "Funny thing is, that car's registered to a government agency. Kinda strange for someone sitting in a greasy spoon reading Hemingway." He sipped his coffee. "Strange things happen every day." Wickers didn't laugh. Instead, he leaned in closer. "Mind if I see some ID?" The man reached into his inner coat pocket and handed it without fuss. Wickers took it and stared at it for a beat before chuckling, then burst out laughing. "Governor Elijah Brooks, come on, man, you serious?" He slapped the ID against his palm. "You expect me to believe the governor of this state is sitting in Janie's diner at 7:30 a.m. eating a muffin with the regulars?" Officer Blake tilted his head, curious. "Maybe it's one of those prank IDs, like the novelty ones?" "It's a fake," Wickers snapped. "Good one, but not good enough." He turned back to the man. "You know impersonating a state official is a felony, right?" "Is that so?" The man raised an eyebrow. "Let's see what else you got," Wickers said, already pulling the man to his feet. Blake reached for the man's arms as Wickers twisted one behind his back. "You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say—" The diner went dead silent. "Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law," Wickers continued smugly, already fishing out a pair of handcuffs. He didn't notice the waitress drop her coffee pot. He didn't notice the cook peering over the counter with wide eyes. He didn't notice anything until the door of the diner slammed open again. A convoy of black SUVs pulled up like a storm front. Men and women in dark suits spilled out, earpieces in, eyes scanning, hands resting just above concealed holsters. One of them moved like lightning and pushed past the crowd, flashing a badge and a sharp voice that cut through the diner air like a scalpel. "Federal Protective Service, unhand the governor, now!" Wickers froze. The words didn't land right away, but when they did, they hit like a freight train. "The what?" "The governor," the agent repeated, pushing between booths. "That's Elijah Brooks, elected by 6.3 million citizens, commander-in-chief of this state's National Guard. You just arrested him in a diner over blueberry muffins." Wickers blinked. The ID was still in his hand. Suddenly, it didn't look fake at all. "Holy," Blake muttered behind him, taking a step back. The governor calmly pulled his arms away and adjusted his sleeves. "Thank you, Agent Lyle. I see the response team is, efficient, as always." Agent Lyle nodded once. "We were tracking your location, standard proximity coverage. Apologies for the delay." Brooks looked at Wickers, then at Blake. "Gentlemen, I assume you're local officers." Yes, sir," Wickers finally muttered, his face a mask of pale shame. "Well, you've made quite the impression. Do sit. You'll want to hear what happens next." They didn't sit, but they didn't move either. The diner remained frozen. Brooks continued eating his muffin like nothing had happened. By lunchtime, the video had gone viral. A bystander's phone captured it all. The smug arrest, the laughter at the fake ID, and the arrival of the governor's protective detail. News stations aired it on repeat. Memes were already circulating. Headlines read, "Local cop arrests governor at diner over muffin dispute," and "Man thinks he's above the law, realizes law eats muffins too." By evening, the mayor had issued an apology. By nightfall, Wickers had been suspended pending investigation. But Brooks wasn't done. The next day, during a televised press conference from the state capitol, he stood behind the podium with calm, measured confidence. "Yesterday, I was mistaken for an imposter. That incident didn't happen in isolation. It is a reflection of something deeper: bias, assumptions, and the danger of judging books by their covers. This wasn't about a car or a diner. This was about the culture of power being abused in small places and how quickly that power collapses in the light of accountability." He paused. "And for those wondering, yes, the ID was real. No, it wasn't funny. And yes, change is coming." True to his word, within weeks, sweeping reforms were introduced across the state. Officers required retraining in implicit bias. A new verification protocol was implemented for local law enforcement. A public service campaign titled "Check Yourself Before You Check Others" was launched statewide, featuring a very familiar diner booth in the logo. Officer Wickers filed for early retirement. Blake, shaken by the incident, quietly transferred to administrative duty. As for Brooks, he returned to Janie's diner the following month. No security detail, just him, his muffin, his book, and a quiet morning. Janie, the owner, brought his coffee with a smile and said, "On the house, Governor." He nodded, smiled, and replied, "Only if I can tip double." There was no spectacle, no cameras, just peace. The Charger sat outside, gleaming in the sunlight. A new bumper sticker read, "Yes, it's me." And no one ever laughed at his ID again.